Yeah, someone can confirm that. I'm just put on my screen.
Yeah, Yogesh has said loud and clear. iPhone also has confirmed. Thank you so much. So once again, good evening and welcome to Uplift Professionals. So this evening we are going to conduct a very informative webinar. It's like more informative than promotional on CPA US and some topics of CPA. So before we start, a little bit about Uplift, who we are, what we do, and all. Although I think from the first slide only you are getting a like brief idea about it. So Uplift is a training company which provides study support for different international professional courses in finance and accounting. We have started from Kolkata. Our base is in Kolkata, but we provide, our students are like throughout India. And although there are like other countries also, like in Middle East countries, we have students in African countries, in the US and UK. Basically, the courses are delivered in live online mode in Zoom. So that's the reason there are a lot of students. So these are the courses which you can see, which we offer. One is, of course, US CPA. I think you know the basics of it, provided by AICPA USA. Apart from CPA, we are also providing US CMA. US CMA is provided, it's a management accounting course of the US, and we are providing it for a long time. There are students, you can say, all over the globe. So the certification is provided by IMA US, Institute of Management Accountants US, and basically just like CPA is more into auditing, audit and attestation, tax and all, public accounting, CMA is more into management accounting. So finance managers who are into risk, who are into budgeting and other things like whichever is related to the decision-making procedure of the company. So those people generally go for USCMA. And we are an authorized partner of IMA US for teaching CMA US. Next, we are also having this enrolled agent credential, which is highly demanded nowadays in India, especially in the big fours and all. So we provide full-fledged coaching for enrolled agent. People who are into US taxation are doing this. Apart from that, we have for the internal auditing people who are internal auditors, they are going for the CIA certification. We have some small courses also like FMAA, CSCA. These are all like related to management accounting, you can say. Apart from that, we are also into SCCA UK. We are an authorized partner of the SCCA UK body. So that's what in a nutshell. Actually, as I said, we have Uplift Professionals has started its journey in 2017. And I personally is working in this particular domain of supporting students and professionals to acquire the professional accounting certifications. You can say since 2010. So around 15 years I am here, and what I have observed is a radical change in the mindset of the finance professionals and students. So when we started in 2010, 2011, up to, you can say 2013, 14, people were more oriented towards the, what do you say, like the traditional Indian courses. They are still oriented. Those courses are hugely popular in India, like, CA India and CMA India. But in the last 10 to 12 years, there is a shift of the mindset due to expansion of different, projects, different international projects, the big fours and all. So there's a huge change of people's mindset for upskilling themselves in the international level. So that's where these certifications come into picture. So the demand of CPA increased, the demand of CMA, enrolled agent, internal auditing course, this has increased. It's been around 10 years. People are more into, it's not like either or. either I will do CMA or CPA. Is not like that. It's like adding up. Sometimes, most of the times, it's adding up, or sometimes it's like after doing your traditional BCom, MCom, or MBA finance, some people are going directly to the international courses. So now people have options. Before 15 years, it was like I have only two courses which through which I can get a professional accountant status. But now it is different. Now you have other options also, which are going to give you an exposure in the international accounting field. So that's in a nutshell. I don't want to make it lengthy. Most of the people, I think, you are professionals and you know about it. So today's webinar, we are is on CPA US, not totally about what is CPA US and other things. We are going to teach you something also. We have somebody here who is a scholarly person, who is a CPA US by himself. Very soon I'm going to hand over to him. So CPA US exam success, you know what is CPA US. I think everybody here out here has done his or her basic homework on CPA. So for navigating you through the complexities of CPA US exam, this session is designed so that you can have a more transparent idea on what CPA is and how to prepare for the exam. Everybody talks about CPA or CPA. You have to be a CPA. It's a great qualification. It's the number one qualification in public accounting. But there is a fear factor within people. A lot of people, not everybody, of course. A lot of people. Like I have seen many people. They call me and they say that, "Ma'am, it's very hard. Can I pass it?" So that thing, for that, I think more than me, somebody who is a CPA, who is hugely experienced in this particular field, he or she will be in a better position to throw you some light on that. So that is the motto of this particular webinar. CPA US fundamentals is like conducted by AICPA, as we have already discussed. AICPA is the body which provides you the CPA certificate. Apart from that, we have NASBA. NASBA is another body which is mainly involved into your providing into fixing whether you are eligible for the exam, because CPA eligibility is a huge chapter. There are 120 credit points and all, minimum of 120 credit points, and there are different ways through which you can be eligible. So that's a different domain which we can discuss later on. Or in a different webinar. So NASBA is the body which regulates all those things. And then apart from NASBA, there are 56 state boards. So these state boards, you have to, like, once you pass the CPA exam, you have to apply for your license. You have to be a licensed CPA from a particular state board, not from the entire USA. So those state boards you have to apply for, and you have to get your final license. So suppose somebody is a CPA US from Washington, somebody is from California, that way. Okay, so it's like mainly the licensing part is regarding your practice. If you want to practice, then only the licensing part comes into picture. Otherwise, for working in the corporate, you can be licensed from any state. So I think the faculty is there. He will be in a better position to help you on that. So eligibility, I have already mentioned. Eligibility is of two types. One is for writing the exam, whether you are eligible for writing the CPA exam, whether you have 120 semester hours in your college work, and some specific business studies and accounting studies are also required. So as I told you, it's a dicey procedure. And we have, I will give you our admin ID, because if you have a specific question like, am I eligible for the CPA exam, we are going to reply you. You can mention it in our ID and we're going to reply you. Then licensure is a different thing. First is exam eligibility, and licensure eligibility is a step higher. So if it is 120, it is 150 semester hours for the license. Now, recently there is some news, very good news actually, that most of the states are getting lenient. They are becoming they are giving this 120 semester hours only for licensing and all, but those are like still they are updating themselves. So right now we cannot take anything for granted. So 120 is in our Indian system, it's BCom plus 1 year, at least MCom first year, or MBA finance first year, or CA inter, or CMA India inter, like that. And then 150 is like full post graduation, that is 3 plus 2 years. That's it. And again, I want to tell you, if you have any question, please let us know in the admin ID. Next, please. Yeah, so we are here in the right place. I'm going to introduce you with Mr. Amitav Ghosh. He is an MCom and chartered accountant. Also, he is a CPA, licensed CPA US. He has huge experience in the Big Four. He's a very scholarly person. So I'd like to hand over this particular session to him. And I'm really hopeful that you are going to get a lot of information about not only about CPA, about how to prepare for CPA. That picture that will be prominent in front of you. Welcome, Mr. Ghosh.
Thank you, Bhashwati ma'am. And firstly, to check, I'm audible, right? Clearly
Yes,
audible.
absolutely, sir. Yes.
And visible also, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Uplift Pro, again for inviting me to this lovely webinar. And I think this initiative is great because there are a lot of aspirants for a CPA, and I think Uplift Pro is doing a great job in terms of providing an opportunity to the finance professionals, bringing them the courses all across the globe in an affordable price to do that from India. I think that for that I really thank Uplift Pro. Coming into next to my lovely audience who has come today, good evening, and thank you for joining today so late evening on a Friday, taking out your time for this webinar and supporting me as well as the Uplift Pro team. Thanks again for that. Coming to next, I think Bhashwati ma'am was quite polite in saying about me, but I'll take a bit of time to, might be couple of minutes to introduce myself. But you know, honestly, a little bit of a lighter note. Anytime I'm asked to introduce myself, and this picture of mine, this was my last office picture, basically shown, I feel very nervous. You know why? Because everyone start visualizing myself as Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So I always tell them, this is not that. I am only a finance professional. My name is Mr. Amitav Ghosh. Please don't make me feel that I am like Mr. B.R. Ambedkar. So with that, a bit around me, myself is a traditional Bengali, born and brought up in this city of joy, Kolkata. I think leaving aside politics, still we have a lot of things for this city to be proud of. A bit around my academics, I have done my schooling from Billa High School in Kolkata. I did my graduation and post-graduation from Calcutta University. Um, and thereafter, in a professional front, I did my chartered accountancy, passed out in May 2008. And I don't know why, somewhere down line, after almost 15 years, I felt somewhere it's a time to somewhere examine myself into another global qualification, perhaps the need of the hour. And I took the US CPA, started in 2023 and completed it in October 24. So it was almost of a gap of 15 years. I'll speak on that a bit more around later on. That's around my qualifications. Around my work experience, I have an overall around 20 years of experience, of which substantial portion of it is definitely in a big four in PwC. But prior to that, after my CA, I also worked for a multinational company, which many of you might heard of. It's called RCG Moody, which is now called Intratrek Moody. It's basically into surveillance audit, inspection audit. So I had the fortunate, I was rather fortunate to travel all across the globe into different countries, and the work involved in semi-ERP implementation of Sun Systems along with closing of financial reporting. That was a great experience because perhaps I feel that it actually transformed me in terms of knowing global cultures and in terms of knowing and becoming better in communication. So whenever someone asks me that should we take a job where it provides ability to know the different cultures, I said yes, please go ahead. Coming into next into my PwC experience, I basically started out in 2009 when basically the PwC Service Delivery Center was formed in 2010. And over the years, I've worked in different capacity, growing over ranks, doing a lot of different roles till I worked in September 2024. And you know all perhaps that it is now called the PwC Accession Centers in India. Now, interestingly, why I'm here, I have a passion for coaching and mentoring, and I love to somewhere help people who are in my domain or thinking of or aspiring to be somewhere doing the course around CPA. If I can value add to them, that's the reason for which I am here today. So I feel that I'll try to add some valuable insights for all of you in the next few slides that I covered today. But what I'll cover, but before that, I want to play a quick game with all of you, and it's a first finger first game, and perhaps we'll have a quick prize also. So can I know from the entire group of people joining today, how many of them are students and how many are working professionals? You could type that in your chat box quickly. Let's see how fast the people go. Guys, quickly, if you can help. Wow, we're getting responses. Yeah, a bit more. So getting working professionals, student a bit, primarily, okay, good to know. So we have a mixed bag of uh, population, I think. So honestly, thank you for sharing the insight, but we do not have any material gift now, but there is always heartfelt gratitude for all of you. Thanking for providing me the responses. Now, interestingly, what I'll cover today in this session would be somewhere helpful to all of you. So basically, I'll just move into the next slide. So these are the things I want to speak on today. And more specifically, the first 3 pointers, that is, I want to share about a bit around my CPA journey. And the reason for which I have selected this is because I personally feel there are a lot of working professionals who are somewhere thinking that shall I go for another qualification? Shall I go for a global qualification? And I think Bhashwati ma'am was right that we have a lot of apprehensions. We have a lot of questions in mind that whether I'll be able to crack that or not. So the same thing happened to me, and I want to share that in my CPA journey. I'll come to that. Next is that I really want to talk a bit around the relevance of US CPA in the accounting profession in the present day, not specifically around how much but the US CPA qualification will fetch me in terms of salary, but I want to highlight how the profession in terms of the accounting domain has been changing and how the US CPA is becoming significantly important in that changing landscape. Then I'll talk about a bit around the US CPA syllabus, and post to that, the next two sections are around basically for people who are either already doing the US CPA or planning to do it in a very recent future. So I'll try to talk around about one of the sections, core sections of CPA, that is the audit, where I'll try to explain you the strategy, the way of thinking while preparing for a paper. And thereafter, I will go a bit more deeper into helping you out that as a student, when I'm preparing for a specific section or a specific topic, how should I approach it? Because we are all working professionals. At the end of the day, it's very hard to bring out half an hour or 1 hour into the entire time for study. So how we can make our study effective, that's my purpose. So the first 3 points are more around in a generalized manner, how it will help people who are aspiring to start the course. And the next 2 pointers, fourth and fifth, is will be helpful more for people who are already into the exam preparation or thinking to start it in the immediate future. Said that, a bit around my CPA journey, and I think this would be somewhere helpful for you all people. So I said that I started almost with a gap of 15 years, and why I did that. So to be very honest, that since it's a platform where I can share a bit around my personal stories, the idea of doing a CPA came to my mind when I was in a secondment from PwC in Australia in 2014 for 3 months. And during the secondment, I came across a lot of people who were a CPA from Australia and was curious that can I have this qualification? And I think most of you know that our CA ICI has a MOU signed with the Australian CPA, and you can get it. Perhaps you get some exemptions around exams and all that. And when I came back to India, and I consulted with my mentor, and my mentor is someone who actually has guided me during my graduation days. He's also a chartered accountant, and he is an alumni from Xavier's. He told me that, Amitabh, if you really want to do CPA, think bigger, think for US CPA. I do not want to undermine saying that Australian CPA is not good, but your vision should be for a US CPA because that makes you worldwide popular. So at that point of time, I think the US CPA exams did not happen in India. So there were logistics challenges because you have to go to US, there are a lot of cost involved. I told to my mentor, I think this is not possible for me right now. So he said, you give it time, you save a bit of money and thinking later on, go for that. And honestly speaking, somewhere down the line after so many years, when things were a bit favorable for me and the market was changing rapidly, I thought of doing that, and I registered somewhere and started in 2023 and completed in 24. Now, why I'm sharing this story is because many of you who are working professionals, as I said, might be thinking that can I restart back because I've closed the books so long after, can I make this start? Guys, I'll be very honest with you, the same feeling I had, the same apprehensions, and somewhere down line the challenges, and I heard a lot of mixed comments when I consulted people, and I'll just share with that. So there were many people saying, yaar tum kya CPA karega, abhi 40 years ho gaya, chhod de, koi matlab nahi hai. So that's one of the stories. And another story is that somebody said, are you getting settled in US, why you want to do a CPA? So now these reactions come in, and but at the same time, there are always some people who are always your constant cheerleaders. Be it your ups and downs in life, they will always stay with you. Definitely one part is a family, but there are certain few good friends. They believe more in your abilities than you yourself do. And some of those friends said, Amitabh, we know we'll do it, you just go ahead and you start it. So that's the way I started. And somewhere down line, every day it was hard to concentrate and focus even for 15-20 minutes. But I made one thing somewhere constant is my consistency. And believe me, I took about 1 year 2 months to complete all 4 papers because I had a job going in that, and it was a senior level, so a lot of things were happening around. But I made a perspective that I'm investing 1 hour, 2 hours, half an hour, whatever I get in the morning, and if my energy was there in the evening, late evening, before I go into sleep, half an hour doing some MCQs, doing some TBS. I'll talk around that later on, but that's the way I followed. So the first point that I want to highlight to you is that the start is very important. Taking little steps one at a time is very important. People who are aspiring, because I talk more about working professionals, because as a student, there is no limit to the time that you can invest for a preparation. But for a working professional, there is always a lot of limitation because you have to manage your work and then your studies and vice versa. So taking one small step at a time, taking little one day at a time fetches a lot of confidence. That's the first point. Second, what I learned was that, and I think all of you will hear this, that is CPA is a marathon. It is not 100-meter Ushan Bolt spilt. Why? Because it's a journey. If you see the entire CPA course, if it is structured, and I think ma'am was telling, you have to get your eligibility first checked, and that requires you to go to the university and get the transcripts, right? That you have to send it to NASBA. NASBA does a evaluation, sends it back to you. You see that how much credit you get. If the credit is not sufficient, you have to do a bridge course, etc. And thereafter, you have to prepare for the exam. You have to set and obtain your NTS, the notice to schedule they call. You have to find a seat in the prometric center, because this exam is very different from the exam that we are normally accustomed to, because we generally have given throughout our life pen and paper exam. But this exam requires you to sit in a prometric center married to the computer screen for 4 long hours. It's not a matter of joke, guys. You have to practice to sit in your chair to study before the exam for 4 hours. Else you will become very much somewhere nervous when you are going into the exam hall on that day of the exam. So as I was saying, that is a journey. So NTS comes, then you book the prometric center. After you qualify the exam, the journey does not come end there. There are a lot of state boards which will want you, or sorry, which will require you to go for the ethics exam. And after you pass the ethics exam, you have to apply for the license. And the entire journey of CPA comes to conclusion, comes to an end effectively when you get your license. If you ask me why, because the word, the 3 letters CPA, you can only use when you are an active license holder. So the journey starts from procurement of your transcripts from the university, so many steps, and ultimately gets concluded into the license. So you can understand that it is like a marathon journey. But some of you may ask, but sir, we see people qualifying in 3 months, 4 months. We see a lot of LinkedIn posts. Perfect. Those people are definitely getting it done. They might be talented. They might be giving a bit more time. But each one's journey is different. That's my focus area I want to highlight. Please don't compare with anyone. If you decide to do a CPA, make your own plan, make your own journey, and make it a race that you will remember, because it may take 18 months, it may take 12 months, it may take 14 months. The time is not important. Ultimately, acquiring the CPA qualification is the final target. So that is one of the things that I want to share with you people, that please take it into one step at a time. That gives you a lot of confidence. Next thing I'll highlight here in the CPA journey is a question that a lot of people have asked me: which CPA review material should I follow? Now, there are so many CPA review materials available in the market. There's a lot of confusion. People refer 2, 3, 4 materials. But believe me, I tell you one thing, what I have experienced, you need to refer to one standard CPA review material honestly, diligently. That is enough. Because even if you do 1000 MCQs or 500 TBS without understanding the concept, you will not be able to succeed in a CPA exam, because they do not ask you direct questions. They ask you questions on the basis of the application of your concepts. So if your concept is not clear, solving 1000 problems will not take you take you cross the shows. So it's very important that you have a conceptual clarity. So review material, follow any standard review material, but at the end of the day, remember, it starts with you and ends with you. So you have to be the constant person in terms of your consistency around your approach, around your dedication. And I'll just share a little bit of things may appear to be funny. Like, I feel that for 1.5 years that I studied my CPA, I did a lot of sacrifices. Believe me, there were days I traveled to different locations like Bangalore, Hyderabad for my office duties. My office started at 9:30, 10 o'clock, or 10:30 sometimes when going to some other location. In the hotel, I used to rise up at 5 o'clock or 5:15, 5:30, whatever it is. And I used to devote 2 hours before going to the office. That was I skipped parties. I remember that in locations where I went, we had parties involved in the evening, etc. Fine. It might be every day. I used to come back to my hotel room. I excuse myself from the people. I again devoted an hour. So it might appear to be crazy, guys, but that's the way out. You have to have some sacrifices when you are working as a professional to crack the CPA exam. It does not need to you to memorize stuff, everything, but it needs application, and you can apply only when you are preparing in a consistent manner, revising timely, so that the things get stuck into your mind somewhere. So that is a bit around my CPA journey. And for everyone, I saw a few hands been raised. Guys, I will give you time to hear from you, but please allow me to speak for some time. That will help me to flow with the momentum. And definitely, I will take any questions around the strategy of preparation if you want me to speak on. Right. So that covers a bit around my CPA journey. Coming into the next important point of the relevance of US CPA in the accounting profession today, I think I do not want to highlight on the aspect that how many jobs are now available, what is the starting salary, etc. No, guys, these are easily available to you, because I think all of you been a working professional, you are active users of LinkedIn. What I want to highlight is that a very practical experience of myself, what I have seen over these years. Believe me, when I started in PwC SDC, the model that we worked for was a more transactional model, that is the global delivery model, where volume was the main focus area, where critical decision making or judgmental work was much limited. But this has been a big transformation in the last 4 5 years, especially after the pandemic. And I think two buzzwords that is growing all across the globe now is artificial intelligence and global capability centers. And how are these two impacting our accounting profession? Think, AI is something that is supplementing the human intelligence, and it is reshaping and redefining our work. And being, if you are accounting professional or audit professional, you know that areas of work that you do, be a analysis, or if you are doing an audit process, you are greatly leveraging the digital tools. And that is the big change that is happening. And at the same time, if you look into 5 to 6 years before, when we talked about offshore companies, four big fours name used to get highlighted. That is either Deloitte, PwC, KPMG, and UI. But for the last 3 4 years, I think all the top 50 accounting firms of US have opened their shops, or rather we call it global capability centers, out in India. And why is this opening up of the things? Because if you look into the model, as I was saying, that from the cost arbitrage model, it has shifted to a value centric model, a model where the people working from India are no longer seen as an extension of a team. Rather, they are now becoming an integrated part of the team located anywhere in the world, because you are seen as a person equally qualified to take a decision, equally qualified to execute the work. And here comes the big challenge as well as an opportunity. Now, the challenge is that whatever traditional qualifications that we might have attained somewhere in India, might be a CA or even a graduation and a post graduation, there is a need of a upskillment. Why, if you ask me? Because it's very important to for you to know the US standards. If you are working in a UK environment, the IFRS standards. And that is why somewhere down the line, the CPA qualification is gaining tremendous momentum in the recent years. And this is going to continue, I feel, that for the almost in the next decade or so, because wherever you look into, the US CPA qualification provides a broad spectrum of jobs, be it in US taxation, be it in the FP&E role, be it in financial reporting, and definitely in audit and assurance space. So what I'm trying to highlight here, guys, is that if you are having in mind that shall I go for a CPA, shall I do the CPA, guys, this is the best time to do it. And as I said, I wanted to keep the journey before the relevance, because it does not matter how much has been the difference, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you can do it. I was seeing recently, and I think you people follow news, a person has become a chartered accountant at the age of 71 years. Can you believe? Someone thinking of becoming CA in 71 years. Hats off to that person, guy. All of you have that potential. It's about getting that start. And that is why came to know a very nice quote. It says that you don't need to be great to start. You don't need to be great to start. You need to start to be great. So that start is very important. If you start, things will fall in place. So said that, I think I covered 2 points. I now will move into a bit more into the CPA syllabus, which has undergone a change in recent times. I'll just throw some light around that, but that would not be an area where I'll go a bit in detail. Moving into that slide deck. So guys, I think all of you somewhere down the line follow news, and you have heard that the CPA syllabus underwent a huge transformation in the last year. I think from 1st of January 2024, there was a basic change in the subjects, in the process. And why is this change happened is because, again, for the change that is happening in the accounting profession, in the AI space. And I think AICPA, who basically moderates and conducts examinations, felt there is a very important need of getting the subjects revamped. And I myself have passed I have given the BEC exam rather, which is no longer now existing in the new format. But somewhere down the line, what has happened is that we now have 3 core subjects: the audit and attestation, financial reporting, FAR, and regulations. And what was there in BEC, that got into split into different individual discipline topics, along with the core subjects which was there earlier. A part of those also got into these discipline subjects. So for example, when we talk about TCP, the tax compliance and planning, it is more in-depth basically knowledge or greater knowledge of taxation, and somebody who is very keen and interested to do taxation will go in that field. Similarly, someone who is interested in accounting, into analysis, we take bar, because that is again a deeper knowledge of your financial accounting and reporting subject. And somewhere down line, ISC, which comes with a separate subject altogether, the information system controls. But I think all of you who might be coming from a background of BCom or a CA have somewhere down the line studied about information systems. And so this subject has been kept separate now only because of the growing importance of digital tools and AI coming into picture. So anyone who is aspiring to be a CPA has to qualify these 3 core papers: audit, FAR, reg, and any discipline paper out of these 3 someone has to select. Now, a very big question that comes up: which one shall I take, sir? Which is the best for me? The answer is very simple. The one discipline that you select is where your heart lies. The topic that excites you, something that you want to learn more, take that subject. Don't take the subject on someone's, I'll say, advice, who does not know your potential, who does not know your likings. So if you are someone who is liking to know more about information systems, IT, has a plan to do CISA later on, please go for ISC. If someone who likes to do financial reporting, play with numbers, want to know more around, I'll say, accounting deeper, go for bar. And somebody who is somewhere feeling that taxation is my cup of tea, I like to guide people around tax compliance and somewhere the tax areas, please go for the TCP. So it is the you again, as I said, has to take the decision which is best suited for you. Said that, going ahead to the next slide, which talks about the same thing about the disciplines, the 3 disciplines and the topics out here. So I think somewhere down the line, I've covered the 3 pointers that I wanted to talk about in the slide deck where I showed what would be the webinar flow. Here I'll pause a bit because the next slides that I go would be technical and important for people who actually are taking the CPA exam or who aspires to start the course shortly. But before that, for a couple of minutes, if anyone has any question around the 3 areas that I have discussed, please unmute yourself and you can ask me. I'm not able to, I'm actually, since I'm presenting, I'm just seeing the screen of my deck. So anyone who has a question around the areas that I've talked about can ask. And if you feel that whatever I've told has made some insights for you, can I have some reaction, please, whether good or bad, whatever it is, because that actually is a vocal tonic. Is it somewhere finding or making senses for you all people? I'll pause a bit. Anyone?
Hi. Hello. This
Yeah.
is Anvesha. I'm from PWCIC. And
Wow.
thank you so much for your insights.
Yep.
And the basic thing is that I'm working in advisory services.
Right.
So is it okay for me to do CPA? Because is there any relationship with assurance or like wait?
See,
Can you?
I
Yeah.
I understand your questions on Nisha, and thanks for raising this. So I'll again answer this from the context of 2 perspectives. So your present job is in advisory, but do you see yourself stuck to that for the entire life? That's my question. Is the question that you have to ask yourself is again with you. If you want to move into a domain which might be an area of interest, an advisory might have a different lot of things happening which you have to inquire, which suits your CPA qualification. And I know that there are areas from my knowledge in advisory. So definitely the CPA qualification is going to give you a boost. I'm sure about it. That and that too, working in a big four environment with a CPA qualification, it's always valuable because it gives you a competitive edge compared to your rivals. Believe me, I'll say that. Does it answer your question somewhere?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got another someone raising hands. Tito Sharoti. Yes, Tito, you can unmute and go ahead with your question.
Okay, hello. I have a 2 question. Question
Yep.
1 is CPA success rate in globally and Uplift. And another question is you need anyone who pursue the CPA need 150 credit.
Yep.
Yeah, academic is 120 and another 30 is experience. But
Right.
we are stay in India or Bangladesh, whatever.
Yep.
But is it possible to global experiences cover these things? Like if anyone do the job in Bangladesh, local company or multinational company, is considered the experience or need to go abroad and take the experience, then I get the license.
Thanks a lot for raising this question, but I feel that this question is more into the operational and administrative part of the CPA qualification. And so, Tito, I'll request that you connect with the Uplift Pro team with the number that we will share at the end of our webinar. They will be able to help you out with details, the evaluation and eligibility perspective, because this response needs to somewhere be evaluated and then only be provided with. So at this point of time, I think for the interest of the greater pool, we take more specific questions on strategy. Please don't mind that. I think if the Uplift Pro team will definitely help you out with this, and if you connect with them. And I think Uplift Pro team, Bashudi ma'am, if you can add to what I said for Tito, that would be fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
of
think,
course.
yeah.
Titha, I think you are already there in my WhatsApp list. So please send me your credentials, the scanned copies of your graduation onwards credentials. I will give you an idea about this.
Great. Any other person having any question before I move into the technical aspects of helping out you people? Anyone? Any question?
Oh, can I ask one more question?
Yeah, absolutely. You can ask not one, two. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Actually, is there any exemption for chartered accountants in the
No.
CPA examination?
No, there is no exemptions for that,
Okay.
because
Oh,
the reason is that the CP exam is conducted by AICPA, and I think it's the largest accounting body in the world, right? So the qualification comes with that valuation, and still now I do not know in the future will it happen or not. But as I was saying, if you look into CPA from Australia, I think there is a MOU which is being signed with the ICI. There are certain benefits. Anisha, you can look into that. But as I said, shared my story part of it, if you ask me honestly, not to undermine again any qualification, but US CPA is US CPA. It has a different market value. That's my take. Again, it's a might be a personal opinion, but you can vouch for that from anyone. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Right. Anyone? Any more question, please? Great. Are you people feeling interested, guys? Because if I not hear a bit around, not might be, can be have some reactions. Is it making senses? Is my talks helping you out a bit? Might be. Then it motivates me more into going into sharing a bit more. Right.
Yes, also like myself, Sandeep Pramanik, and
Yeah.
like by hearing your like all the sacrifices and all, actually really it as a working professional, it really like gives us a boost that yeah, what kind of sacrifices that is needed, and like yeah, so that's really awesome. Yeah, we'll try to follow the same thing.
Perfect, perfect. Sandeep, thanks a lot for sharing the insight. That's really helps me to know how the momentum has been going. Now, so we move into now the next slide. And guys, you need to pay a bit more attention now, because I'll be trying to help you out with some strategies of how to prepare for a particular section in CPA. I have chosen the audit section because somewhere down the line, the audit section challenged me a bit. Okay, Flora has raised a question. So before moving that, yes, Flora.
Yes, Amitabh, so before you move forward,
Yep.
I just had one thing to ask regarding, you just mentioned that CPA does have a global recognition. And but at the same time, given the AI making its, stepping in and making vital changes in the organizational structure, along with the, political side of the Trump government. So what impact will it have on the future CPAs, and what would you suggest, or what is your take on this? I just wanted to have a rough idea.
I think this is a very beautiful question, and often a question that comes with another question: is AI going to take our jobs? So I think all of us who are here somewhere down the line think of that. But guys, believe me, that won't be the case. If you ask me why you are saying this, because artificial intelligence somewhere down the line is developed in a way that makes our life easier. People think of, I give a very simple example. When I started my articleship, it is way back in 2003 4, I think, because I passed in 8, yeah, right, 3 4. When I entered for the first time the farm where I did my articleship, I saw only paper files. That in those days, people knowing Excel were treated as kings and queens. Now Excel is getting somewhere substituted and supported by Copilot. So every time a change comes, there are two things that is going to happen. Either you don't accept it and do not learn and become redundant, or you adapt it and have a competitive edge. Coming to your question, somewhere down the line, Flora, see, Trump government rules, honestly, I don't know. Whatever he is doing, he's doing as per his own discretion. But what I can tell you is that given the momentum of work that is happening, and if you look back 5 years back, 4 big fours were there. Now, if you see in all over India, there might be 30, 40 GCCs for all the popular and known accounting firms of US. So the need of people in terms of CPAs are definitely in rise, because the type of work being done has changed from transactional processing to decision making, or what we call typically in information system terms, decision support systems, and further to the executive support systems. So people are required to become more upskilled, and the ability to apply professional skepticism, ability to apply professional judgment, AI will not be able to take it away from a professional chartered accountant, professional CPA, whoever it is, even in the near future. So it is how you define yourself and how you adapt yourself with AI that will make a difference for your professional journey way ahead. Does that help, Flora?
Yes, it helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's sounds like some kind of relief.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I think any questions from anyone? No, right? Great. We'll again pause. Let's move ahead. Now coming into now. See, guys, this is very interesting. If I tell you why interesting, we are now moving into a particular section which is audit and attestation. Now, this section, you know, is very, very notorious. If you tell me why this is notorious, देखने में तो बहुत सीधा सा लगता है, because it's a very topic which is theoretical, and most people feel, believe me, we will crack it in just 1 month, 2 month, पढ़ लेंगे, मार देंगे. But here is the big mistake. If you tell me why, because we are always tuned from our childhood days to do pen and paper exam. We used to get a paper having 10 questions. We used to invest 2 minutes to read all the 10 question. फिर 10 years से जो मिल गया उससे फर्स्ट स्टार्ट करते हैं. यार ऐसा नहीं होता सीपीए में. सीपीए में there are 5 test lists. Each testlet is a surprise for you, because once you submit one testlet, then only the next testlet you can open, and once you have submitted one testlet, you can never go back. हम लोग का एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन 4 लिखे थे, अच्छा थोड़ा इनपुट्स और मिल गया पीछे वाले से, we struck it out and again write question 4. Does not happen in CPA, guys. And in audit also, it is a very practical driven paper. I'll help you out with that. But what I'm trying to focus here and what the slide here is about, I explain you. Whenever you prepare for any section, be it FAR, be it reg, be it basically audit or any discipline paper, you need to know the subject very well, the exam pattern very well. Then only you can strategize. Just starting on a good study mat, database, listening to lectures will not going to give you momentum. You will feel confused. So what is appearing now in your screen is something that I have taken from AI CPA website, which is called the subject blueprints. This is readily available publicly. Anyone can go to the AI CPA website and download this information. It is available for all subjects. I have just taken for audit because I want to focus on audit and help you out how to prepare for audit. So one by one, let's go into the rectangles. First thing, audit is a core examination, 4 hours examination, 4 hours. You have to sit in a prometric center, married to the computer screen, no distraction, guys. You have to be totally charged up and focused. Believe me, 4 hours के बाद when you come out to, and people who have given the exam know, लगता है कुछ नहीं है शरीर में. The resources go out of your mind because it's so strenuous. Now the 4 hours are divided into MCQs and TBS. For audit, there are 78 MCQs that you need to answer, and TBS, that is task-based simulation, 7 you have to answer. The breakup is given in the below rectangle, which shows 39 in the first testlet, 39 in the second testlet, and then there is the third testlet, fourth and fifth, 2, 3, 2. I think there's a optional break in after the third testlet, if I remember correctly, but I never took the break because somehow the other I felt that it's important to flow with the momentum. So there is a break in the means of prometric center. You can get a break of 15 minutes to go to the washroom, come back, have some water, etc. But see, the important thing is that if you look into the testlet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the challenge here lies is that you cannot open testlet 5 even if you want to do that first. You have to start with testlet 1. You have to answer all the 39 questions. While answering 39 questions, you are stuck with one. The suggestion is that mark it, move into the next one. Once you are done with your testlet 1, you have to submit testlet 1 and then only you can open testlet 2. So this is the challenge. This is the beauty. This is the surprise element of a CPA exam. Again, testlet 2 you do, you submit it, you cannot rechange, go back to testlet 1 or 2, you appear in testlet 3, the TBS. Now within the TBS, you can play around. What does it mean? Say there are 2 TBS, right? You can quickly see which of the TBS is somewhere you are able to hit quickly. That is conceptually you are able to identify. Do that first. What I mean to say is that while you have to answer testlet 3 and then move to testlet 4, but since in testlet 3 there are 2 TBS, you can quickly juggle up and see that which one I should attempt first in order to make your chances of a better response and time management better. Similarly, once you submit testlet 3 to 4, 4 and ultimately 5. Said that, moving into the next portion, both the MCQ and TBS have equal weightage for audit exam. This is very, very critical. I tell you why. People do very well in MCQ. TBS goes for a toss. You would not succeed because there is 50%, 50% equal weightage for these 2 sections. So you have to perform very well in both the 2 to score 75 and above. And there are heartbreaks that happen. And to honestly share with you, I also had one such heartbreaks, but I never stopped there. I stuck for 1% for one of the sections. But I made it a point that the next 2 days was difficult, 48 hours. But after the 48 hours, I just bang on. Is bar to nikali denge, because everything was prepared. It's about just that momentum thing of those 4 hours that I do get it done. Coming into the last rectangle, this is very important for you to understand. And this is again from the blueprints. See, remembering and understanding portion is only 30 to 40%. That means the style of preparation that we have accustomed to from our childhood days, that we prepare definition again and again so that we can write it down going to the exam hall. It does not happen in CPA. Remembering and understanding portion which is around definitions or different concepts, that comes in MCQ to an extent of 30 to 40. Then comes application, and from here the difficulty level rises. When you say application, it means the concepts that you have understood, you have to apply them to situations thrown at you. That means if your concepts are not clear, understanding is not clear, you will not be able to do the application in that environment where you are already somewhere tense because you are not at home, you are at a prometric center. After application come analysis. And I think when I speak of analysis, it is another level of difficulty because it is about breaking down critical complex things into smaller components where you have to find out the relationship patterns and ultimately come to a conclusion. And you can understand in audit, this is a very big area. For example, you might be giving a question on financial statement ratios where you may be asked to analyze and as an auditor come to a conclusion. Evaluation, this is the highest level of difficulty, where as an auditor, you have to take a judgment to a situation. And audit judgment, we all know, is subjective. What I feel as an auditor, someone else may feel different because my level of risk absorption appetite and someone else might be different. The way of I define and I think may be different from that person. But when you sit in an exam and you are given an evaluation question, which comes normally in a TBS, both analysis and both evaluation comes in TBS primarily, generally. So you would be tested to the ultimate level about your thinking, about your ability to take a decision to a situation given under practical circumstances. That is, these areas will test you how you are successful as a true auditor. So why I am focusing a lot on these 4 rectangles? Because if you do not know what to study, what is my exam pattern, how can I strategize? How can I know what I should do right and what I should avoid? Perhaps I have been able to provide you insights on this, and this is the way all of you who are aspiring to study CPA, for each of the sections, you have to go to the blueprint and do your own homework. I did this. You have also to do this so that your preparation time that is available is not unlimited. For working professionals, you have limited time. So if you are investing 2 hours in a morning, you should feel 2 घंटा का बाद कुछ तो हमको वैल्यू मिला आज का प्रिपरेशन से. And in the night, when you get the opportunity, you revise that for half an hour, and again going to the bed, you feel today's day was fruitful as a CPA preparation aspirant. That should be your mindset. That should be your momentum. Said that, I move into the next slide, which is again around the blueprint. And I want to talk a bit to make you aware what actually is tested in auditing and attestation. If you see, we generally talk about audit from financial statement viewpoint, audit of financial statements, right? But in a CPA audit exam, not only the audit of financial statements is tested, but a lot of other things are also tested, like audit of internal controls over financial reporting that we term as integrated audit, then government audit, compliance audit, single audit, then ERISA, that is an employee retirement scheme related audit. Those are tested. So you have to know multiple standards like the PCOB, AICPA. The extent that you need to know, any standard review material will have that, and you have to refer to that. I am focusing on this to make you understand what is the depth of the course. Then you see attestation engagements. Now this is different from what we called of audit, because this involves my examination, my review and agreed upon procedures of a subject matter or an assertion relating to a subject matter. This is again an area that is heavily tested in an audit CPA exam through MCQs or through even TBS. Then we have the accounting and review service engagements, which will encompass what we call preparation, then compilation, and I think reviews for the non-public companies, which are generally governed by the AICPA. Said that, there will be also different areas coming from the use of, I'll say, digital tools, because those are things are now getting added into audit paper. But if you look into the left side, audit engagements, attestation engagements, accounting and review service engagements, this is the entire syllabus that is being required for the audit aspirant to learn for. Then you come to the right hand side bottom. This is very important section, content allocation. What does this mean? It means that of the total audit syllabus, there are different sections, and each of these sections will carry different weightage in your exam. But mind it, whatever here is mentioned, like 15 to 25%, 20 to 30%, there is no guarantee that in an exam that area will fetch only that. What I mean to say, here it is mentioned that ethics, professional responsibilities and general principles allocation is 15 to 25% in your audit paper. It is a guideline. It does not mean that the person or the paper setter cannot increase the percentage in that section. They can do that. That is the beauty of the exam. You have to prepare everything, boss. You cannot ignore जे ठीक है 10 to 20% तो देख रहा है फॉर्मूला फॉर्मिंग कंक्लूजन रिपोर्टिंग उसको इग्नोर कर देता है. Ignore, and the tragedy is that, you know, believe me, जिसको तुम ignore करोगे in personal life also, that comes back to you more heavily. So in exam also, the section that you ignore, that comes more to you in your day of exam. So it's better not to leave things, cover everything. So in content area, if you see that there are 4 areas and each of these areas have different percentage involved. But again, I will say there is no guarantee that only the percentage will get stuck to this particular allocation. There can be changes made when the preparation of the paper is done by that that exam moderator or paper who is setting that at that point of time. If you are very unlucky, that situation may come up that an area which was not much studied by you has come for you. So these are the 2 pillars of how to strategize for the audit exam. Now I will go into some tricks, or some, not tricks, I'll say tips rather, that how you can become better prepared for your audit exam. Now those points that I'll show on your screen, these are all from my experiences and what has been told by people who have successfully passed the audit exam. Again, this list that I will show is not exhaustive. It might be that there might be some other good points and some good technique that might be suited to you people. So please make your own way of study. But if you consider my points that I'm going to show you now, you will be better prepared, that I can guarantee. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, the guarantee term should not be right from an auditor's standpoint. I'll use reasonable assurance. Okay, and then else people will say that Amitabh had guaranteed, it did not come up. So reasonable assurance, guys. Moving ahead. This is the golden slide. Why I say a golden slide? People, if you want to use your phones and take a click of this, please do. The next 15 minutes, I'll explain each of these points, but I believe these points is going to help you out thoroughly. Let's start. People aspiring to become a CPA and trying to go for the audit exam, right? The first point I read out, I've written, it's a theory-based paper, but requires logical understanding and practical application with presence of mind. Why I'm saying this? Because I have seen that many people, especially where you have got a knowledge of audit beforehand, might be in BCom days or even in CA audit is quite elaborate, generally have a big confidence that I'll crack it in 2 months, 1 month mein hum nikal dega padh ke. And people may do. I'm not saying that they do not do, but I am talking for the greater mass. I'm talking for people or working professionals who may not have got an in-depth idea of audit. Believe me, it takes 3 to 4 months to prepare properly and be well prepared to crack the exam for the first time. If you are not having very detailed audit knowledge, because the concepts which are there, since it is not a pen and paper exam, you have to understand it practically to apply that under simulated environment in a prometric center under pressure. It takes a lot of practice, believe me. So just definition पढ़ लिया 2 महीना में वैसा नहीं कर पाओगे. You have to study, you have to practice, you have to understand to practical examples. That's the first point. Second point, guy, I've already said a bit around my sacrifices, and this is a way to go for professionals. Slow, steady, consistent approach holds the key. I have kept it 2 hours on a daily basis because that was my target that I used to do. But 2 घंटा हो नहीं सकता for many people, because I know people working in Big Four, they have to clock 10 to 12 hours on average. I have worked for 14 busy periods in my life. I know how it goes. But guy, I will again say, उसमें भी कर सकते हैं. If you tell me how, The morning time is your golden time when you are again going into the student mode. As a working professional, when you are going as into a student mode, every day morning I used to wake up 5:30. Believe me, I used to study for a couple of hours from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock or 6:30 to 8:30. I used to get ready within 1 hour for the office. Breakfast बहुत दिन skip हो जाता था. I'm honest. There are people who used to keep the breakfast ready, but टाइम उतना नहीं होता था. Those sacrifices I made, and I'm telling you not to boast, but वैसा होता है. You people will face that if you are really mad about getting that coveted 3 letters CPA. So that 2 hours I divided it in some way or the other. So in a morning, if I could spend 1 hour in office, if I used to get a bit of time, 15 minutes, the software was available to me. I used to do quickly 5 MCQs. I have done this, believe me. That's the way you have to keep your momentum. You have to be with the course somewhere in your mind. And in the evening, after coming back, after my dinner, I was literally tired every day. पढ़ने का और मन नहीं होता था. But क्या कर सकता है? Somewhere a bit what I studied in the morning, quickly revised, और 5-6 MCQs किए, एक TBS किए, might be I've done that, and then go to sleep. A lot of happiness used to be, I have progressed this much for the day. So these 2 points are very important. Third point, this I feel is very, very important for an audit standpoint. And if ask all of you who have somewhere studied audit about the audit process, I think all of you will say there are 3 stages in audit: planning, fieldwork, and completion. You have to know your syllabus when you are studying, where you stand. What does it mean? If you are studying risk assessment procedures, you should know it is somewhere in the planning stage. हम planning stage में है. If you are doing opinion, you should know you are in the conclusion stage of audit, completion stage of audit. If you are obtaining evidence, you should know that you are in the fieldwork stage of audit. Why I am saying this? This is important for you to know, because in exam, when questions will be thrown to you from different directions, you have to first identify where I am located as an auditor, because the MCQs will be so tricky that they will try to misguide you, because AICPA's way of questioning is notorious. They will make you think ये completion stage का है, but actually it is of a fieldwork stage. If you continuously in the course of your preparation focus on where I stand, where is my specific process, or where I is the audit stage, you will be super confident in terms of your preparation. Believe me, try this out. People who are doing audit, preparing for audit, every time you read a concept, ask yourself, हम कहाँ पर खड़ा है? हम planning में है, हम fieldwork में है, या हम completion में है? Said that, coming to the 4th point, students without much practical experience. This is for people who are grads, masters, who might not have got the articleship experience or done working in a audit environment or accounting firm. Guys, you need to invest a little bit of more time. You need to seek coaching from your seniors. You need to take help from people who have a good concept in audit to understand the technical terms with examples. If you do not spend that time understanding the terms, सिर्फ word like pervasive, word like professional skepticism, word like professional judgment, इसको read out कर जाओगे तो you will not able to understand anything. You have to relate it with practical examples, and for that you have to seek help from someone who is knowing the subject well. It may not be always a faculty from where you are taking the coaching. It can be your friend who is a CA. It can be your brother, it can be your sister, or anyone who you know has an idea around the topics. Please ask them, they will help you out. That's my honest suggestion. Coming into the 5th point, this I did very much. And if any of you have heard of Peter Olinto, he is a renowned basically tutor for CPA. He tells, once you write You remember a concept 10 times more than you read once. Writing is very important. I do not want to tell you that you write the entire audit book when you study. But what I did was that अगर हम 2 घंटा invest किए morning में, at the end of 2 hours, I should feel what I have obtained in those 2 hours. So if I covered 10 pages, I made a summary of those 10 pages into 1 or 2 pages, so that next time when I revise, I do not invest 2 hours, I invest 30 minutes or 40 minutes. That is the way to go for a working professional. Else, you will feel that in the mid of the course, I am in the Atlantic Ocean, not seeing the shores. You have to constantly see the shores while you swim through the Atlantic Ocean, because the course is like that. So read, write, make a summary, revise. How you revise? जो लिखा, जो पढ़ा मॉर्निंग में, अगर टाइम मिला रात में क्विकली रिवाइज कर लिए, जस्ट रीड थ्रू इट गाइस. कमिंग बैक टू फ्रॉम योर ऑफिस इन योर बस और कार, हो सके तो मोबाइल में देख ले. मोबाइल में तो कितना कुछ करते हैं, फेसबुक, लिंक्डइन, इंस्टाग्राम, सो मैं डूइंग सो मेनी थिंग्स. थोड़ा उसमें भी इन्वेस्ट कर लिए. व्हेन आई एम अ स्टूडेंट, talking about the summary notes for a quick recapitulation, this has helped me enormously. Believe me, I took leave for my audit exam for like 7 to 10 days. I did not open the book anymore. I went through my own summary and I was confident the summary notes is going to crack it. And that was my way of preparation. You read, you write, you revise. And when I say practice means doing random MCQs, TBS as you get time, because that will help you to prepare. And every review material has a simulated exam which you should give before going to the final examination in the prometric, right? Coming into the next point, practice mock MCQs and TBS on random basis subject to time constraint. What does it mean? What I used to do in the night, I used to select randomly 10 MCQs and 1 TBS and set a time of say 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I used to check that am I going in the right speed? Am I able to cover in that 30 minutes the MCQ and TBS? Initially, I used to fail. Initially, I struggled to be in time, but I used to answer everything because I was learning. As you gain momentum, as you go through the course, you will speed up. And believe me, the time that you take in your room, in your home, by default, that time will get increased in prometric, because that's a new environment, that's a different environment. And I'm telling this for general people, in the sense that for majority of the people that happens, because there is an underlying tension involved. It's a very different environment, ball game altogether. Coming into the next, while answering MCQs in audit, and this is a very, very golden point, I'll say, which I learned. While answering MCQs, don't search the perfect answer. They will never give you the perfect answer. Most of the questions, look for the best answer based on the call of the question. So many of you may say, sir, aap ye kya bol rahe? What you are saying this, I'm not able to understand. I will help you out today only by solving one MCQ in this webinar. What I'm trying to say this. My point is that there are 4 options for a question. You have to read the call of the question properly. What the question is asking. They notoriously put answers to misguide you. So if you look for the best answer, if you look for the perfect answer, you will not get that. Depending upon the situation, you have to apply the game of elimination, which is not appearing to be right for this question. You'll get that momentum, you'll get that mindset, more you practice, or you'll find it that these 2 are not going to be right for this question, and you ignore those. Then you left out with 2. Again, you try to do a calculation to see that which is best suited to the question. You'll get the click. And I'm not saying that this will happen for all the questions, but for majority of the questions in an audit exam, because this is the section which AICPA tests you very much in a tough way, because you are going to be the future CPAs who are going to hold the profession right? So if you are doing something wrong way, if you're not able to take a judgment properly, the profession gets impacted, right? Next comes time management. In exam, super critical. Yeah, MCQs not more than 1.5 hours, maximum 1 hour 45 minutes. You have to complete those two testlet within this time frame. Then only you get 2.5 hours for your TBS or 2 hours 15 minutes. If you are very lucky, couple of TBS might be less exhibits. Exhibits, I know, I think people who have appeared for CPA or who have not appeared, I'll help you. In every TBS, there are certain what you call supports might be said, which you call exhibits. So if the exhibits number are more, it will consume more time because you have to go through each of those exhibits. But if the exhibits are less, it might becomes quicker for you to answer the TBS. But the golden rule, ye bifurcation, MCQ 1.5 hours, TBS 2.5 hours. You have to practice your mock in this way. This is difficult to maintain. Believe me, if you take a plan of 4 months to prepare for audit, first 2 months thoda difficulty level rahega to crack this, to become expert on this. But if you continue the way I said, every day you do a little bit, step by step, you will gain this momentum and confidence. That's my point. Next point is that I have highlighted two areas which generally is heavily tested in an audit exam: risks and response, obtaining audit evidence and procedures. You know why? Because they make you bold out in these two sections, because this involves analysis and evaluation. As an auditor, you have obtained evidence. How you are going to conclude is tested here. So you need to be somewhere very confident in these two areas. And again, the answer is practice, practice, practice. But first understand and then practice. If you are not understanding the concept and practicing 1000 MCQs, you are bound to fail in the exam thrown at you, because that's the beauty of the CPA exam. They know exactly where your weaknesses are. I don't know how they do it, but they are able to do that. So these are the areas that is important. Last point is very important because, you know, many people ask a question: shall we go for the audit exam first or when to go about it? Now, the honest answer is people who do not have any concept of audit should not go for the audit exam first. Why? Because it has certain interrelated concepts required from FAR or financial accounting and reporting. But people who have studied audit or who are confident, like might be someone who is a chartered accountant wanting to go for a CPA, if you are confident that fine, हमको audit आता है, I know financial reporting areas also, go for it, not a problem. But ideally, the flow or appearing for the exam should be FAR, bar, audit, reg. Or if you are taking TCP, then you can go for like FAR, reg, TCP, and then or say or the other subjects that is left with, right? So basically why I'm saying this is that you need certain concepts of accounting to succeed in audit. If you ask me, sir, why this is done, because see, as an auditor, what an auditor is doing, he is doing an independent examination with the objective to come to a conclusion that whether the financial statements are having any misstatements or not relating to it, and the misstatements, the impact of that, whether they're material or immaterial, is something that he's trying to find out. So in that process, he often provides certain suggestions to the management to make rectification entries or adjusting entries, right? So agar as an auditor, I do not know accounting, how I will recommend adjusting entries, how I will recommend to the management what needs to be done. This is something the AICP also tests you. So the topics that I have written here is not something that is an exhaustive list, but generally it might be also a bit lengthy list. I wanted to cover everything which I felt can be asked for. I read out adjusting journal entries. This is very, very important. Accounts receivable. In accounts receivable, they generally test the journal entries when you are having provision for doubtful debts, or when you are not having a provision, that is you are following the direct write-off method. how the journal entries would be, that is often tested in AR. Property, plant and equipment, areas around depreciation may be tested. Intangible asset for IA. Accounting changes and errors correction. This is again a favorite area. Subsequent events, how the auditor should respond to subsequent events. This needs a concept and idea from accounting also. Cash flow statement, ratio analysis, very favorite area. It is used to be in the old syllabus. I do not know much about the new syllabus, which is tested or not, but it is always better to cover ratio analysis because questions may come from here. Revenue recognition, definitely burning topic because the ASC related to that has undergone a change, the 5-step model and all those things you should know clearly. Leases, again, very important area in terms of FAR, as well as something may be asked in audit. And deferred tax asset and deferred tax liability, some ideas you should have. So guys, entirely this slide deck that I prepared, again I'm saying this is not going to be something that इससे better कुछ नहीं हो सकता, ऐसा नहीं है. There can be a lot of things which can be better than this. The approach might be different for many of you. Whatever I say here may not sync with you. जे नहीं बहुत ज्यादा बोल दिया, 2 घंटा करके हमको टाइम नहीं मिल सकता है, या ठीक है half an hour तो मिल सकता है. I can spend half an hour, but I have to be consistent. I sat half an hour on a Saturday and पूरा week उसके बाद नहीं हुआ, next Saturday half an hour बैठे, नहीं होगा. It will not work out because your momentum will not get created. You have to sit for 4 hours in an exam, एक seat में, एक computer इतना बड़ा screen तुम्हारा सामने. So you have to create that momentum in the right way. I'll pause here, need some break, a bit of water, but I will again open up for any questions because after this slide, when I go, it is more technical because I will now help you out if I'm reading a particular area, how to apply this strategy. I first made you all learn strategy करने के लिए पहले subject को समझना है. That is why I referred to the AICPA blueprints. After that, I explained to you that blueprint समझने का बाद how I should strategize, and I took the example of audit section. After doing the strategy, now comes how to apply the strategy in a specific area that I am going to teach you in the next slides. But I pause here and give you 2-5 minutes. Anyone feel free to unmute and ask a question relating to whatever I have discussed in the last 3 slides. Guys, this is interesting. Is it making sense? Yeah. Audit is not a dull subject. You know, you have to bring a beauty out of it. Guys, I'm not hearing anything from anyone. Has all gone to sleep.
Sir,
Yes,
I
Don't
think
feel
somebody using the iPhone has already posted a question in the chat box.
so can that person please speak for me?
Yeah,
Instead
can
of
you
the I
please?
want to hear the sound and I want to
Please speak
hear
up.
and I want to hear you as a person, please. Please go ahead. Whoever has put the question. I'm not seeing the chats honestly because it breaks my momentum. I'll be
I
very honest.
understand. Yeah.
Anyone who wants to go,
He
please
has
unmute.
written, sir, he has written that does Big Four assurance work experience, that is offshore audit, help somewhat in understanding the concepts and clear the audit paper?
Absolutely. If you tell me why, how, the shift in the model. If you inquire from any of your friends working in a Big Four in present day, the model that is being now followed is the integrated model where you have to be aware and you are a part of the team working in Australia, US, Canada, wherever it is. You have to be aligned with the concepts. You have to be aligned with the audit process. So your experience working in an offshore environment in today's day world would be very, very helpful. Believe me, it is going to be of huge help, and you can vouch it from anyone, your friend who is working in a Big Four. Guys, is it going good? Can I have some reactions? Can I have someone say something? I think whose name was Sandipan or I forgot. Sorry.
yes, yeah. So yes,
Yeah,
really
Sandeep. Yeah.
for the like strategies and all, like yeah, like momentum is the thing. Like what you told is thanks for sharing this.
Okay. Other than Sandeep, anyone, anything that to add, any questions you have? Yeah, shall we move ahead then? Yes, no,
Yes. Yes.
yes, okay,
Yes.
fine. So now see, as I was saying that I told you about the strategies to crack the audit exam. Now I'll have taken one section. I've taken rather a section which is a bit easy to resonate, that is forming conclusions and reporting. My objective, try to understand, my objective is that when you are approaching this subject or this area, not a subject, sorry, this area as a student on a morning, how should I frame my mind so that I can draw the maximum benefit? So I'm going into the next slide. I'll try to explain that. See, whatever I have taught you in the strategy, now I'm going to apply it in this section. The section that we are discussing is forming conclusions and reporting. If you remember, this section actually has 10 to 12% weightage, 10 to 20%, sorry, 10 to 20% weightage in a CPA exam. But this section is very important somewhere down the line because it holds the heart of the auditor. Because the ultimate objective of an auditor is to express an opinion. So we are talking about opinion. One disclaimer I want to give: whatever points I'm discussing here relating to forming conclusions and reporting, this is not the entire area of this particular section. I have taken selective areas which is important, and to explain you the strategy, you as students might have to read more for forming conclusions and reporting. Got it? So the first thing that we need to understand, जे अगर ये section मेरा है, हमको पढ़ना है, if I need to read this, what would be asked for the exam in this section? That is my ultimate objective. If I am reading, studying, what can be asked from this section? Two things can be asked: MCQs that will test about your understanding around different opinions. Opinions can be of different types that I will explain you in the next slide. But MCQs may juggle up in a way that confuse you with one opinion or the other. So you have to learn about the different opinions so that you can answer the MCQs. Task-based simulations, again, generally from this section, what they test is that, you know, a audit report or a audit opinion generally has different paragraphs, right? So they have a notorious habit of changing words in the paragraph. So तुमको फिर paragraph अच्छा से पढ़ना है, muck-up नहीं करना है. You have to just know the key words. They will play around the words. They will change a word, and they will also give you the right option there. You have to select that. So that is only possible for you to select. जब बार-बार reading कियो, बार-बार revise कियो, so it will get stuck. Okay, this word is the right word. This would be the right option. So what is asked in this particular section? MCQs that might be of different opinions that is asking, and task-based simulations that might be having different sections. जहाँ पे they may actually juggle up the words. You have to correct the words to make it the right report. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, see, I have kept quick recap of audit process. Can you tell me why? Anyone? Can anyone tell me this? Unmute and tell me why I have kept this quick recap of audit process here. Anyone, guys? Quickly, I discuss this in strategy. Please interact. If please feel free. Don't feel that I'm be right or wrong. Anyone? I'll be really glad to hear that. Why I have kept this quick recap of audit process here?
Because we have to understand the entire process to comment on the audit conclusion and reporting.
One part, Anisha, you are right. We need to understand the audit process, right? But we need to more understand where we are standing, where we are residing in our preparation. We are studying the section forming conclusion reporting. If I ask you, where is this section lying in our entire audit process? you should be able to figure out and say, I'm in a completion stage. And this is very important. I'm again repeating, when you are studying audit, you should know the area that I am studying, which area I am in, where they're actually standing. That will give you the satisfaction, that you give you the momentum, the confidence that I am at this stage. I am able to read the concept. So if you quickly recap the audit process, see, there's a planning stage, there's a fieldwork stage, and a completion stage. In a planning stage, what we do normally, understanding the client and industry, audit strategy, audit plan, risk assessment procedures to identify the risks of material misstatement. In a fieldwork stage, we do responding to identified risks through audit procedures, obtaining the audit evidence, and then the processes might be the test of controls and substantive procedures. In a completion stage, we are drawing an overall conclusion. We are obtaining the management representation letter and finally issuing the audit opinion. Believe me, when I was a student studying for audit, ये जो diagram है, it was always visible before my eyes, because that was the level of preparation I made somewhere for the audit process. Because I always felt if I'm studying a particular area, I should be able to visualize myself where I am there in the audit process. So this particular section, all of you who are preparing for audit, believe me, it works. So you can actually take this as a guide to think about whenever you are studying where you are residing. Once I've covered this, now we'll go further deeper. Further deeper, this section is again very important to understand the different opinions. Please hear me carefully. I'll try to explain you. I think people who even do not know will get clear. See, we said that we are in the completion stage, and as an auditor, we are trying to express an opinion after we have done all the audit work. So we are at the completion stage. We have gathered all audit evidence that I obtained, and now I'm concluding as an auditor. My objective is to provide a reasonable assurance, right? That what is the situation? What type of opinion should I express? That is the situation. So how the auditor actually forms an opinion, if we read out through this, we'll understand. Let us read through it. The auditor should form an opinion on whether the financial statements are presented fairly. That is the financial statements that he is opining on. The responsibility of preparing the financial statements is with the management. But the auditor actually, after doing the audit work, will express the opinion on the financial statements. So he's expressing an opinion whether they have been presented fairly in all material respects. That is, the concept of materiality is coming into picture here. Why? Because an auditor gives reasonable assurance. He cannot test everything. He has his limitation. So he uses the concept of materiality, and materiality means something which is impacting or which is influencing the decision of the users of the financial statement. So presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. An applicable financial reporting framework in this case, in our case, is US GAAP. Because we are studying the CPA curriculum, we are looking for US GAAP as a reporting framework. Now, in order to do that, what the auditor has to do, that is, you have to achieve the first two lines. The auditor has to do, he has to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence as required by GAS, Generally Accepted Auditing Standards. GAS stands for Generally Accepted Auditing Standards. Sufficient appropriate audit evidence means, when we speak of sufficient, it means quantum, how much. But how much to obtain, again, is a professional judgment by the auditor. Sufficiency, right? That is sufficient. Appropriate means what is relevant and reliable. Whenever we use the term appropriate, it is related to relevancy and reliability, right? Next point is that whether uncorrected misstatements are material individually or aggregate. What does it mean? As I said, as an auditor, when I am obtaining evidence, we may come across certain misstatements. These misstatements, if they are corrected by management as per the advice of the auditor, it is fine. If they are not corrected, they remain as uncorrected misstatements. So the auditor has to see whether all those uncorrected misstatements, either individually or in aggregate, are material or not. So first point around sufficient appropriateness audit evidence. Second point around uncorrected misstatements, whether they are individually or aggregate material or not. And finally, he has to see whether the financial statements that has been prepared in all material respects in accordance with the requirements of the applicable financial reporting framework. What does it mean? That the management has prepared the financial statements, but has the management prepared it as per GAAP? Has the management applied proper accounting policies, principles as per the GAAP? That he has to see also. So auditor is giving reasonable assurance. He is opining. What is opining? Whether the financial statements in all material respects are in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework or not. For that, he is doing three things: sufficient appropriate audit evidence, uncorrected misstatements are material, individual, in aggregate, and whether the financial statements are in all material respects are as per the applicable financial reporting framework. Now, when doing so, if we have understood this paragraph, in doing so, he may be encountered with two types of challenges. He may be encountered with two types of challenges. What are those challenges? One is the financial statement issues, and another is called audit issues. So you may say that, sir, when you say financial statement issues and audit issues, we do not understand anything, right? So what is that? As I said, when the auditor is looking into the financial statements, he may find that the financial statements has not been drawn as per the applicable financial reporting framework, or the accounting policies that has been chosen by the management, that is not correct or incorrectly applied, or the presentation may not be right, or disclosure requirements are not enough. All these issues which make the financial statement somewhere having misstatements, those are financial statement issues. So financial statement issues are relating to inappropriate accounting policies are applied, not properly done with GAAP, or basically the presentation disclosures are not right. Now, these financial statement issues that we are saying can be somewhere the uncorrected misstatements that can be my below materiality, that is, it might be somewhere material or it may be immaterial. So when my uncorrected misstatements, either individually or in aggregate, are not material, right? If you see the left portion, extreme left hand corner, the first column, it says that just focus on the first two columns. Financial statement issues is existing, but financial statement issues means uncorrected misstatements, individual and aggregate, that is basically immaterial. That is, it is not material. In that case, the auditor will issue a clean report. Now, from a US GAAP standpoint, when he is issuing a clean report for a non-public company, that is called a unmodified opinion or non-issuer. That is when he is seeing that there is a financial statement issues, but it is not material, he is going to give a clean or unmodified opinion for a non-issuer, that is non-public company. If it is somewhere a public company, that is called a issuer, and for that the term changes as unqualified opinion. Unqualified opinion is again a clean report, but he is basically giving it to a issuer or public company. Now go to the next row. In the next row, the situation is we have uncorrected misstatements, individual in aggregate, which are material. You see the left first column, there is uncorrected misstatements, individual in aggregate, which is material, but not pervasive. Pervasive means far-reaching impact. So it is material, but it is not having far-reaching impact. In that case, we give a qualified opinion. And the last is the situation where the uncorrected misstatements, individual and aggregate, are material as well as pervasive. That is found to have a far-reaching impact. In that case, it becomes an adverse opinion. So in a financial statement issue, where the uncorrected misstatements, either individually or in aggregate, are found to be not material we go for an unmodified or unqualified opinion depending upon issuer or non-issuer. If it is material but not pervasive, we go for a qualified opinion. If it is material as well as pervasive, we go for an adverse opinion. Similarly, if there is audit issues means where the auditor is not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Why this can happen? Because of some limitations in the audit process where the management is not supporting. There is some scope limitation. As a result, the auditor is not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Now focus on the third column and the first column. Ignore the bottom column, first and the third column. So here the situation is the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. And since he is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, he is not able to conclude whether the possible effect of the undetected misstatements. Here the misstatements are undetected because he is not able to complete the audit process, so he is not able to detect those. So the impact of these undetected misstatements, the possible effects of these undetected misstatements again can be immaterial, can be material but not pervasive, or it can be material as well as pervasive. I repeat again, audit issues means issues which are pertaining to the auditor's inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. When the auditor is not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, then what happens is that the misstatements which goes undetected, the possible effects of that undetected misstatements can be immaterial, can be material but not pervasive, or it can be material and pervasive, the greatest impact. So in the first situation, when it is immaterial, in that case, we are saying unmodified opinion for non-issuer, unqualified opinion for issuer, as I explained. Second scenario, material but not pervasive, it remains qualified opinion, same. Third situation, where it becomes material as well as pervasive under audit issue, it actually becomes disclaimer of opinion. Disclaimer opinion means the auditor does not express an opinion. He disclaims from giving an opinion. So this is the different types of opinions classified based on the type of issue the auditor is facing, whether it's a financial statement issue or it's an audit issue. And this particular row column diagram, you should make a summary note of it when you are preparing, and should be always visible before your eyes, because a lot of MCQs are asked around juggling up of these scenarios. And I'll solve one of the MCQs for you people by discussing with you people about this area only. Now, once we have understood that the type of issues are financial statement issues, audit issues, the next thing to understand is why financial statement issues comes and why audit issues come. This I've already explained, but let's go to the point. The reason why I'm showing this screen is that when you are studying, when you are preparing, you should make these smaller notes the way I have made. This will help you in revising. It will help you to reduce your time of further preparation. So financial statement issues, if you see, what are the type of issues? Issues pertaining to appropriateness of accounting policies. That is, it is not in accordance with financial reporting framework. The blue highlighted ones are examples. Blue highlighted ones is examples of those points. Second is issues pertaining to application of accounting policies. When period to period inconsistency exists, when capital is charged as revenue, revenue is charged as capital. It's capital versus revenue issues. Finally, issues pertaining to appropriateness of presentation and disclosure of financial statements. That is, disclosures are incomplete or missing. So all these type of situations, sometimes in the exam, they will give you this situation. You have to identify quickly that it is a financial statement issue. They will not tell you directly that it is a financial statement issue. They will give you such terms, incomplete disclosure. They will give terms like inappropriate accounting policy, or they will give a name of accounting policy, valuation of inventory not done as per GAAP. So you have to quickly understand that this is a financial statement issue. Coming to audit issues. Audit issues similarly are related to time constant. Time constant, when does it happen? For example, the auditor was not engaged from the beginning of the audit. He was engaged in the middle of the audit. So naturally, as a time constraint, he cannot see the things which has happened in the beginning of the year. So he's subject to certain limitations. Second is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence on account of scope limitation. What is scope limitation? That is, say auditor is applying an audit procedure. I give a very simple example for this. I think people who are here who have done audit a bit, you know, for accounts receivable, we seek external confirmations. That is the best way to obtain evidence for AR or accounts receivable. But sometimes the accounts receivable or AR may not provide responses for those external confirmations. So the auditor is stuck. He's having a scope limitation, or he's not able to obtain the audit evidence properly. In such situations, the auditor may apply an alternative procedure. What is the alternative procedure? He may check from the bank statement subsequent receipts. He may check in the bank statement of the next month subsequent receipts, which he can vouch for to see that whether they really relate to the AR or not. So here I am trying to emphasize that when the auditor is not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence on account of scope limitation, that is an audit issue. But if the auditor is able to apply some alternative procedure and is able to gather the evidence, that will not be considered as a scope limitation. So if you read the point N1, it says if auditor is able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence through any alternative procedures, it does not result in scope limitation. That is the way I explained for AR. You have done external confirmation, but you have not been able to obtain the evidence because the responses have not come from the AR. You are going for certain alternative procedure, the subsequent receipt testing, to obtain the evidence, right? Then the third point, management's refusal to provide management representation letter and acknowledgement for the fair presentation of the FS in conformity with GAAP. That is, management has to give a confirmation that the financial statements are in conformity with GAAP. If management denies to give that, that is coming as an audit issue. And last one is the refusal of client attorney to respond to inquiry. We know that we often seek responses from the client's lawyer. If the client's lawyer does not give response to the auditor, denies to give response to the auditor, that would be considered as an audit issue. So you may not memorize this, but if your reading of this, revision of this is done 3-4 times, you will automatically remember the points. My ultimate objective to help you people is that how you should prepare for a section, especially working professionals. If you are investing 2 hours in the morning, whatever you studied should be summarized. Else the next day when you sit, you will feel that what was my position 2 days before, I am in the same position. That's my point to explain. Now moving into the next slide. Again, I'm trying to help you out to know what are the important words you should remember from this particular section of forming conclusions and reporting. What are the important terms? See, important terms to remember for opinion types. We have already learned that there are 4 opinion types. Unmodified or unqualified opinion is the first type, and in that there would be the terminology used presents fairly in all material respects. So you may say, sir, why you are focusing on this? Because they will create a MCQ. They will actually ask you a MCQ that presents fairly in all material respects. Which opinion applies to this? So if you do not know this, you may wrongly select qualified opinion. So you have to know that which phrase goes with which opinion. Then comes qualified opinion, where you have to see that the clause that is used is an except clause. Why except clause? Because in qualified opinion, we are qualifying the opinion subject to a particular thing. So that is why except clause says that except this, the FS presents fairly like this. So except clause is used for a qualified opinion. Adverse opinion, the term that is used is do not present fairly. Disclaimer opinion, here the auditor does not express an opinion, right? So you have to know that which particular phase goes with which opinion, so that you are able to select the correct response to a MCQ thrown to you. Another important point which is highlighted in red font, also remember that an auditor, when he is not independent, all of you know the meaning of independent, right? An auditor has to be independent. If he is having any interest in the organization he is auditing, he cannot consider himself to be independent. So a person has to be an independent person, independent of the interest involved in the organization, to audit that organization. So given when auditor is not independent, or if the financial statements are unaudited, so you may find a MCQ given stating that disclaimer or opinion is given. 4 options might be there, and one of the options might be audit when auditor is not independent. So you have to remember that when the auditor is not independent, then the right option is disclaimer of opinion. Given this section, let's move into the next part that I was explaining, pervasive. See, pervasive means far-reaching impact. One point you should always remember is that when something is material, then only it can have a pervasive impact. If something is not material, that is immaterial, it can never be pervasive. So the two terms, material and pervasive. So if something is material, can also be pervasive, but something which is not material can never be pervasive, right? Because pervasive means far reaching impact. If we read the lines, will become clear. And I give an example also. Pervasive effects on the financial statements are those which in the auditor's professional judgment, because auditor has to judge, he cannot somewhere just go about it. It's his professional judgment, which are not confined to specific elements, accounts, or items of the FS. What does it mean? If in entire FS we are just focusing on one account or one element, in that case it is not pervasive. And if it is so, if we are focusing only one account, it should be a substantial portion of the FS. For example, a balance sheet may have 4 items, just taking an example, and where we find inventory, though being a single account, it is having a substantial portion of the balance sheet. In that case, if the inventory is not properly valued, it has a material as well as pervasive impact. I hope I am able to explain. A balance sheet might have 4 items. In normal circumstances, will not focus on one item. But if that one item is so substantial, so big, that it is impacting my entire financial position of the entity, in that case it is material as well as pervasive. And the third point states about disclosures. We all know that if disclosures are not given properly, then the financial statements would go misleading. That would not be proper representative. So that is why we are saying that disclosures would have a pervasive impact if it is not given properly. Then the last section, normally I said in the beginning of this particular section that in task-based simulations, they generally test specific paragraphs of an audit report. In an audit report, what are the specific paragraphs you normally have to be very much aware of? This is I'm trying to highlight. For your exam purpose, you should be aware of these 4 paragraphs very, very much. Apart from this, there may be some other paragraphs also in an audit report, but these 4 paragraphs are very important. Opinion, basis of opinion, management responsibility, and auditor's responsibility. These 4 sections holds the heart of an audit report. So a lot of task-based simulation or MCQ revolved around the wordings of these 4 paragraphs. So any of you who is preparing, please focus on these 4 paragraphs specifically. Now, moving ahead, this is interesting. Guys, I will want now your participation. Even if you are wrong, please respond. Else, the effort that I have given for the last, I'm speaking for last almost even 1 hour, might be. I'm not seeing the clock actually. So if I've spoken for the last 1 hour trying to explain you the concept around forming conclusions and reporting, I want an answer from you people. You can unmute yourself and tell, but you have to also explain me how you have arrived at that answer. My objective of solving the MCQ is not finding the right answer, but the methodology, how to solve the MCQ. Because I have given in the strategy, while explaining the strategy, I have said how to approach solving a MCQ. So can someone help me out from your understanding? What should be the answer of this question? Onisha has raised hand. Onisha, can you help me?
Yeah, sure. The answer, I think, qualified opinion.
I think, Mane, you are not confident.
No, it should be qualified opinion because there is a material misstatement, which is material but not pervasive in case of the valuation of inventory. Because valuation of inventory has a material effect cause it in the profit and loss, it has an effect on the balance sheet, that is a financial position, there is an effect. But since it's not pervasive, so it can be qualified opinion and it should be.
So if I ask you a question, out of these 4 options, you said qualified. Whether it is right or wrong, I'm not saying. But what is your approach of getting that answer? How did you arrive at that qualified? Is it from what I have said, you have heard, and from that you related it? Or you applied any technique or approach?
No, because it's a single domain issue. Like value of inventory is a domain for single financial domain and the financial statements issue. So in that case, it is material for the valuation of inventory, but other part of the financial statement like revenue and other cash flow, these are correct. So entire financial statement is not wrong. So we can say there is a single issue for the valuation of inventory. That's why it's material, but it's not pervasive because it impact is not on the entire financial statement as a whole.
Good
That's
to
why
hear your
it's
viewpoint.
qualified.
I appreciate your point. Let's hear from some other people also, and then I'll try to conclude. I'm not saying that whether you're right or wrong, but thank you for showing up and raising your hand and answering, Onisha. Thanks a lot. I think another person, who was that? You can unmute and say.
Yeah, so it is like it is Sandeep this side. So
Yeah.
qualified opinion it will be because at it is like there is material misstatement and it is not pervasive. So on that basis, like it will be qualified.
So you mean to say that you have understood from the valuation inventory is a financial statement issue, and that is a perspective that it goes that out of this option qualify, just as Onisha was saying also in the same lines you
Yeah.
think, right? Okay, Sandeep,
Yes.
thanks for your response also. Appreciate that. Shayana has raised her hand. Yes, Shayana, want to hear from you.
Yeah, so my approach is that since first it is given that the material misstatement exists with the valuation of inventory, I first conclude that this is a financial statement error or misstatement that has happened. After that, I see that it is material but not pervasive. So, which means it does not have a far-fetched effect on the financial statements, but it is material nevertheless. So I cannot put an unmodified opinion because it is like material at the end of the day. And then I also have other options like adverse opinion I would have put if it was material and also pervasive. For disclaiming an opinion, it needed to be an audit misstatement, which it is not since it is a financial statement misstatement. So I am left with qualified opinion, which suits best for this like question.
Bang on. Thanks on Shayana. I really appreciate the way, and that is the strategy I wanted to hear in terms. But nevertheless, whatever Onisha said and whatever Sandeep said is absolutely true. See, once you study, you come to know. But see, I was more keen to know how I approach, because in your exam, this is a relatively easy question. Believe me, there would be questions will puzzle you. So the approach that Shayana told, I would really appreciate that, because that is something that I wanted to teach you people. What she told is that I see that there is a material misstatement existing for valuation inventory. So that means it is something related to a financial statement issue. First conclusion she draws. Next, she sees that is a misstatement, but that misstatement is material but not pervasive. So it strikes me that material but not pervasive, that means if I apply the method of elimination, adverse opinion and disclaimer opinion can never happen, because if it was material and pervasive, then those two options would come into play. And if there was also an audit issue, but this is a financial statement issue, so those two options go away. So we are left with qualified opinion, unmodified opinion, and emphasis of meta paragraph. Now, unmodified opinion with an emphasis of meta paragraph, unmodified opinion is again a clean report, but here it is already mentioned it is material, so it can never be. So we are left with qualified, and that is why it is a qualified opinion. I think every one of you gave the right answer, but I appreciate Shayana's approach, because Shayana somewhere is actually applying the strategy that I've been teaching you, and this would be somewhere helpful for you people when you answer very complicated MCQs in your examination. So let us go to the answer. The answer is qualified opinion. The explanation is in red font, but China has given a nice explanation, but I want to read it once again for all of us. A qualified opinion should be expressed when sufficient appropriate audit evidence concludes that misstatements are material but not pervasive to the financial statements, or the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence but concludes the possible effects could be material but not pervasive. So here the situation is material but not pervasive, financial statement issue, not an audit issue. So somewhere down the line, we are going on leftover with qualified opinion. The reason behind where I'm wanting to explain this particular MCQ was only because that how we should follow the approach. I hope that the technical small session that I've taken for forming conclusion reporting, that is not exhaustive. I'm again saying this is not for your entire preparation. This is about how to prepare. And I hope that I've been able to provide you that valuable insight the way I used to learn, and you can apply that, you will be successful. But don't take audit lightly. It is a very notorious subject. Now, that's my experience of this subject, because it needs your presence of mind and to understand the concepts with practical application. Said that, I think I've spoken a lot. I'll move ahead to the next slide, which is opening for our question and answer session. But I can see very few people are left. Maybe the dinner time has arrived. But yes, Shan, I'll come to your question. But the thing is that for all of you guys, taking the time constraint in hand, it's already 10:40. So if you have any questions relating to admin process for a CPA, like eligibility check, licensing, please feel free to drop a message in a WhatsApp number or drop an email to Uplift. They will take care. If you have any very specific technical question relating to audit for what I taught today, technical in the sense that what will happen to this, if this is that, this is this, please drop me an email. I'll be in a better position to read through it and answer to that. I may not be in a position to take on those questions right now. But then what we are left with for the question answer session, the question answer session, I'll more stick to the strategy of exam. Anything from my CPA experience you want to hear, anything about CPA relevance, and anything around the strategy for the exam. Okay, so I think few raise of hands are there. One by one we can go. I think I first saw Shayana's and then Sandeep might be. Yes, guys. And depending upon who is better to answer, I'll either take it or pass it on to Uplift Pro. Bhashwati ma'am can take it. Yes, please. Anyone who wants to go ahead. Shayana, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank you because this was actually not my approach towards attending the audit questions. I used to like see from any material and I would make a very mainstream approach and try to like not try to get into the question that much. I would just try to like understand it in a superficial manner. But today when I attended your session, it was really very helpful. So I could apply it like in real time and understand how much that helps to eliminate the other unnecessary options and find the actual answer that lies inside. So thank you.
Thank you, Shana. Thank you for appreciating that. And again, I say that my purpose is to help you people out some way or the other, and it has been meaningful for you people, as Shana said, and that's the I think the I'll say the reward for me for taking this session for the last 1.5 hours or 2 hours, whatever it is. So thanks for Hannah. And then Sandeep, you have a question? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. As Siren said, like, thank you so much for the insightful session. So I just wanted to understand, like, this Uplift professionals, like, is this like kind of as baker and something, or like how it is? Because like I just saw kind of this webinar is going to happen. I just joined, and so just wanted to understand on that basis, like, because I know like baker and some things are there, but the thing is like many other like kind of supportive courses also there. So just wanted to understand on that basis, like Uplift professional on the on this journey. And really thank you for so much for your insightful session. And can you just give, like, as audit, for audit you have given so many tips and all, like strategies, like for FAR, like maybe just 1 minute or something, like, because now I'm like studying for FAR, like I haven't started the audit yet, but just started for FAR. So just wanted to get some insight from you. Thanks.
So thanks, Sandeep, for raising these questions. I'll take it in twofold. First part, I'll pass it to Uplift to respond. Your question around the more around CPA review perspective, I'll ask Bhashwati ma'am to take it. But I'll answer the second part. The second part was for your FAR tips. I'll tell you, look forward to some of our webinars. I think Uplift Pro will definitely somewhere follow suit on. So FAR is not far away, I'll say. So today I may not be in a right frame of mind to give you the
Yes, yes,
right
yes.
sense of tips, because has been almost a couple of hours. But definitely, since you said, later on, if you want, you can connect me over LinkedIn also. Feel free to
Yes, yes.
connect,
Okay.
and I'll try to help you out with something that comes from my mind, because I have to honestly see, I've prepared for the audit, right? I have to think a bit. I do not want to pass something to you which will just be just for the sake of giving you, but at the same time, look forward to the upcoming webinars from Uplift. Somewhere down the line,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
something will help you. Bhashwati ma'am, can you take the first question of Sandeep?
Yeah, sure. So, Sandeep, for your CPA studies, as you know, you said you have started with FAR. There are two things. One is your publisher, the company who is going to serve you with the books, the study materials. Worldwide, we have some very reputed publishers like Becker, as you have mentioned, like Roger, like Sargent, like Gleim. So these are all reputed worldwide publishers for the CPA materials. And then the other part is your CPA coaching, the study support, like we are providing. So we are not publishers, we are a training company. We provide study support for CPA. This way only you will be completing the entire course, your audit and attestation part, the FAR part, the regulation part, and as well as the discipline part. So of course it will take quite a long time. So it depends. Like, as you have already understood that we are very detail oriented, and it's not a huge class we are going to form. We are going to restrict our class within max 20 to 25 students, so that we can take personal care to like for everybody. Okay, so that is what we are doing, and we are a coaching provider for the CPA US course.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Sure, I'll connect
And
with
we
you.
have our email ID and our WhatsApp number also. Any question you can just shoot like in this particular WhatsApp or email. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. And anybody else, if you have any question regarding the admin, as sir has said, admin procedures or anything regarding CPA or even other courses also. So you can send a mail or ping us in the WhatsApp. And regarding the session, I don't think I need to say anything. Thank you, sir, for the great learning experience we had right now through you. And I can see in the chat box the students have already, the prospects or the attendants, they have already said what they have felt about the session, so no need to repeat. And it was extremely informative, insightful, and it was like truly an amazing session. I have told you guys, like, it's not going to be a promotional session, that the basic things we have given you, but apart from that, it's going to be a learning experience for you. And so you have got a test of that. And people who are really sincere about the CPA exam, I am sure they have got highly benefited for this. And apart from the CPA exam, if somebody is doing auditing also, I think they have got very good insights for this. Okay, so saying that, I think we can call it a day. It's already 10:30 in the night, and it's a Friday night, weekend night, right? So still, we are here, we are listening to this subject. The subject matter sir was explaining, and we are listening. That proves that the quality and our sincerity. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so anything you have, any question you have, you are free to ask.
Yes, absolutely. Please feel free to ask questions. And as Bashwati ma'am said, look forward to the webinars might be coming up for the different financial courses from Uplift. Follow Uplift in, well, I'll say, in the LinkedIn page or YouTube channels. You'll come to know more about the Uplift courses coming up. Please share with your friends. I can see that the attendance has not come down to 12. I can understand it has overrun the dinner time, but I'm helpful, and I feel good that it has been helpful for you people. So that's it. And I'll also somewhere, perhaps now, if there's no questions, we can close down. And I think this weekend is also the Friendship Day coming up, so all of you have joining, you'll like also my extended friends, so happy Friendship Day in advance, I'll say. But any more questions from anyone before we close down, or we go to the last slide of a thank you? Anyone, any question?
Amitabh,
Yeah,
Manisha here.
yeah,
So
go ahead. Yeah.
I really want to thank you for this amazing session, because the way you taught us how to eliminate the MCQ tricks, like eliminating the options and dropping down to the correct option. So that was the superb thing in the entire session, because that was the trick which we should use, like in CA and CPA exams, the elimination trick. So, and the ways Shania explained by eliminating all the three options and choosing the correct option. So yes, that was brilliant, and thank you for this superb, amazing session. And please
Thank
continue
you.
holding like such sessions, because it was a very knowledgeable session overall. So
Thank you, Manisha. Thank you for your time, and I also appreciate that. I know that you are a working professional, you are a Big Four professional. Taking out time on a Friday night and staying for up to 11 o'clock, hats off to you, and thank you. And my only message is that please, if you have liked the session, if you have
Yes.
liked the platform, please pass on to your friends who might be aspiring to do a CPA course. That actually helps me to help more people. My only purpose is to help people to get better, and as working professionals, we always have the time crunch and time constraint. Within that, we have to prepare ourselves. But thank you for all your appreciation. Anyone else before we move into the next slide for a thank you? Anyone?
Thank you so much. One of my PwC senior has just referred me to this webinar. I've
Yeah.
joined very casually, but after joining such an insightful and knowledgeable session, I can't imagine. Even my
Thank you.
CA preparation also, I didn't get such a good learning experience in audit as well.
And this
Thank
is
you
all
so much.
Thank you for that. But
Thank you
honestly,
so
see,
much, ma'am and sir.
yep.
You're welcome, Anishwa.
Guys, thank you. Then let's call it for a day, and we close down, and we look forward for more webinars coming up from Uplift. Thank you for being there up to 11 o'clock. Nice.
Yeah, that's right. We are going to conduct a series of webinars on the CPA topics. So stay in sync, stay in touch, and you'll be getting the notification at the proper time. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.